significant intervention by the President of the United States, who says America will not be supplying Israel with a lot of the heavy weaponry that they would normally do, because they don't think they should be going into Rafah in the way that Prime Minister Netanyahu says he's going to do.
Well, I think that the decision by President Biden is extremely problematic, of course, not just for Israel, but for the United States as well. I mean, to be cutting off Israel, who is battling against Hamas, not the Palestinian people, at a time when Hamas, which with the backing of the Islamic Republic of Iran, is carrying out senseless terrorism against innocent Israeli civilians and is still holding hostage American citizens, multiple American citizens. He's not deterring anyone, and he's not really saving any lives in Gaza either. If the United States really wants to see an end to this conflict, then there needs to be much more international pressure on Hamas to agree to a deal, which Israel put on the table, and to dismantle and disband Hamas from being able to control the Gaza Strip, because that's the only way that the Israeli society is going to see security and an ensurement that we won't see a repeat of October 7th, which Hamas has stated repeatedly that they will do again and again and again.
Emily Schrader, let me ask you the same question that I asked Rania, which is this. Do you feel genuine empathy, sympathy with the people, the Palestinians, who are being killed in large numbers?
Well, the unfortunate reality is that we haven't dismantled Hamas to the point where they can no longer threaten us. And that is evidenced by the fact that they did fire rockets at Israeli civilians as well as Israeli soldiers, 4 of whom died from those attacks from their own humanitarian aid crossing. So that is the reality that we're still dealing with. In answer to your question about empathy, of course, I feel empathy for Palestinians. I don't think it's acceptable that any Palestinians should die, any Palestinian civilians, excuse me. I think it's a terrible, terrible travesty. I would love nothing more than actually what Elica wrote, which is that we should find a solution to bring home the hostages, find a way to end this war, and disband Hamas. And that is a very, very important objective, not just for the security of the state of Israel, but it's also an important objective for the Palestinians. As I mentioned at the beginning, Palestinians are being oppressed by Hamas. They have been for many years. And yes, we are dealing with a population that condones extremism. Unfortunately, there's way too much support for Palestinian terrorism and even for Hamas in both the West Bank and Gaza. But none of that changes the fact that they shouldn't be dying if they're innocent civilians. We don't want to see that. That is why numerous efforts have been made in order to prevent that. Now, has enough been done? I am not a military strategist. I can't answer that question definitively. But I do know that much care is being taken even today in order to avoid civilian casualties as much as possible. But again, we're dealing with an enemy that intentionally is endangering Palestinian civilians, which is all the more reason that this terrorist organization needs to be dismantled. They need to go. And we need to take a strong, united stance as an international community against this terrorism, because Hamas is not the only problem. Hamas is the beginning. And this is what I always speak about, is that the conflict isn't just between Israel and Hamas. It's between the jihadism, the terrorist organizations with the backing of the Islamic Republic of Iran and all of their proxies against the Western world and all of the values it stands for: freedom of speech, freedom of expression, feminism. It's much broader than just what we're seeing here.
Yeah,
and the main issue
there's
here
no doubt
is the Islamic Republic.
There is no doubt it is much broader.